All right, welcome to this explainer where we're going to demystify that often dreaded annual envelope, the service charge or operating cost statement. Whether you're a brand new property owner trying to get the paperwork exactly right, a seasoned real estate investor tightening up your operations, or a tenant wondering why your monthly rent just isn't the whole financial story, you are in the exact right place. We're going to decode this entire document together. Because let's be honest, this one simple question causes universal anxiety. For tenants, ripping open that envelope usually comes with the eager hope of a nice little refund check to put toward a vacation or the absolute dread of an unexpected extra payment. And for landlords, well, it's not just about getting money back. It's about covering your out-of-pocket expenses accurately, staying compliant with local laws, and maintaining a solid relationship with your renters. It's a remarkably high-stakes piece of paper. So we're going to open up this block box together by walking through 4 logical steps: defining the costs, seeing exactly what gets passed on, running through the calculation steps, and finally, looking at common mistakes in trust. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, defining operating costs. So what exactly are we talking about when we use this term? Well, operating costs are strictly the everyday recurring expenses required to keep the building running smoothly. Think of it like putting gas on your car or paying for your regular scheduled oil changes. It's the ongoing, predictable financial fuel that keeps the lights on, the water flowing, and the property safe and habitable day in and day out. If it's something that happens regularly just to maintain the status quo of the building, it likely falls right here. And there's a really strict boundary here that we need to acknowledge. Everyday shared property costs, your standard operating costs, are one thing. But long-term repairs, like fixing a completely broken roof, or capital improvements, like installing a brand new state-of-the-art HVAC system, those stay firmly on the landlord's side. As a landlord, you simply cannot pass on the cost of a new roof as a standard service charge. That is a capital investment in your own asset, not a daily running cost. Which brings us to section 2. What actually gets passed on? Depending on your local laws, the standard allowed costs paint a real-world picture of everything from the dead of winter down to the hum of the elevator. You've got your foundationals, right? Property taxes, water, sewer charges, and weekly waste collection. Then there are the comforts, like heating, hot water, and essential building insurance. And finally, it covers shared services. Think about the electricity lighting those dark hallways, routine maintenance on the elevators, hiring a lobby cleaner, a gardener, or even a caretaker or chimney sweep if your specific building requires one. Now, here's a bit of a plot twist for tenants who might assume they're paying for absolutely everything under the sun. It's incredibly easy to feel like every time a single dollar is spent on the property, it somehow magically ends up on your yearly bill. But wait, not everything is a shared expense. There is actually a very firm line drawn in the sand here. Landlords, listen up, because these expenses, like your mortgage, administrative costs, and legal fees, are your responsibility. They generally cannot be charged to the tenant. If you hire a real estate lawyer for a dispute, or if you're paying off the mortgage you took out to buy the building, that is strictly your business overhead. The exact same rule applies to property repairs, like patching a leaky pipe inside a wall or full-blown renovations. Upgrading the lobby with gorgeous marble floors is fantastic for your long-term property value, sure, but it absolutely does not belong anywhere near a tenant service charge statement. So, how do we bring all this theory to life? Let's get into section 3, the step-by-step calculation. To prevent any confusion, the calculation follows a really precise 5-step path. You start by defining your standard 12-month accounting period, and then you accurately tally up all those eligible operating costs we just went over. The vital next move is applying the correct allocation method. Are you splitting this total bill based on the square footage of each apartment, or are you using actual metered consumption, like individual water meters? Once you've got that settled, you simply subtract the advance payments the tenant has already made throughout the year to reveal the final balance. Let's put some real numbers to this, to literally follow the money. Imagine a small residential building where the total operating costs for the entire year hit exactly $10,000. Our tenant rents a unit that makes up exactly 20% of the building's floor area. So by applying that 20% allocation, the tenant's exact share for the year is $2,000. But they haven't been living there for free, right? Throughout the year, this tenant made advance payments totaling $1,800. Subtracting those advances from their total share leaves a final balance of $200 owed by the tenant. When you stack those numbers side by side, the math becomes instantly clear. The physical cost of running the tenant's portion of the building simply outpaced what they prepaid. You can see their share towering just slightly over those advances, resulting in that extra payment owed. But hey, flip that scenario in your mind for a second. If the building had a particularly mild winter and heating costs dropped, those prepaid advances might completely eclipse the final share. And that means the tenant gets that beautiful refund check we talked about at the very beginning. All right, let's explore how getting this math right impacts the human element of real estate. Section 4, Mistakes and Trust. You have to be extremely careful to avoid these common pitfalls, because slipping up here instantly ruins trust. Missing legal deadlines for sending out the statement is a massive one. In a lot of places, if a landlord is too late, they legally forfeit their right to demand any extra payment. Then you've got basic incorrect calculations or accidentally charging those non-eligible expenses we talked about. But honestly, perhaps the most damaging mistake is poor documentation and a total lack of transparency. Handing a tenant a bill for hundreds of dollars with absolutely no receipts, no breakdown, and zero context, that doesn't just cause confusion, it actively breeds suspicion. The ultimate takeaway here is that avoiding mistakes and embracing transparency transforms a stressful financial transaction into a solid foundation of trust. Landlords, when you go out of your way to provide a clear, beautifully documented, and highly accurate statement, you completely bypass unnecessary disputes. You save yourself a huge headache, and you keep your good tenants incredibly happy. And tenants, when you truly understand how this statement works, you can confidently pay your fair share, knowing the math actually checks out. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave both tenants and landlords with one final thought to consider for your next annual statement. Is your service charge building trust, or is it breaking it? Real estate isn't just about buildings, you know? It's about the relationships between the people who own them and the people who live in them. Take the time to get the math right, be radically transparent, and turn what is usually a dreaded annual chore into a powerful sign of mutual respect. Thanks so much for diving into this with me.